Shalom, shalom, mishpocha. Welcome to another edition of Ray Bash's Ramblings. Today we're going to be talking about matzah. What is matzah? Matzah is unleavened bread. It is bread that doesn't have any yeast in it. It is bread that is cooked in such a manner that the bread doesn't have time to rise, and it turns out flat and crunchy. And we get this from the book of Exodus, in the account of the Exodus itself, when Yisrael finally leaves Egypt after the 10 plagues, and basically they are, the Egyptians are more than eager to allow Yisrael to leave, in so much that the Israelites ask for precious metals, gold, silver, jewelry, whatever, and in that way they had plundered the Egyptians, because the death of the firstborn pushed all of Egypt over the edge, and they were more than glad to let Israel go. They had to leave in such a hurry that the bread that they had prepared for the journey did not have a chance to rise, and therefore it was unleavened. And today it takes a different form, because a lot of the matzah today is not handmade, unless you're in a Jewish community and have a lot of Jewish mamas together that are making matzah for Passover. You buy it at the store, and it's made by a machine, and it looks like this. Now, when I used to work in a factory during the Passover season, I would bring matzah with me to eat, to fulfill the commandment of eating the matzah during the week of unleavened bread, because we're not supposed to eat anything with leaven or yeast in it. And one of the guys said, "Boy, that's the biggest cracker I've ever seen." And yeah, it does kind of look like a cracker. But Rav Shaul in the Brit Hadesha talks about how a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. It just takes a little bit of leaven, and it makes the bread rise. It makes the bread puff up. And leaven is the spiritual symbol of sin, because sin, like pride, which is the original sin, whether you knew that or not, because who was the first one in the universe to sin? It wasn't Adam and Eve, it was Hasatan, it was Satan. And he sinned by the sin of pride, trying to raise himself above Hashem himself, and therefore he got booted out of heaven, and influenced Adam and Eve to sin, and here we are in the mess we're in today. But pride also, the scriptures talk about, I think it's in Proverbs, how pride puffeth up, how pride comes before a fall, and a haughty spirit before destruction. So during the week of unleavened bread, as we eat this matzah, we not only remember the Exodus and our deliverance from Egypt, but we also do a self-evaluation. Every high holy day has an aspect where we do a self-evaluation and try to purge ourselves of any sins that may have crept in, any leaven that is crept in during the year, during the interim between one high holy day and the other. And therefore we eat unleavened bread, and we have matzah. Also, not only does it remind us to purge ourselves of sin and to take a self-evaluation and ask God to reveal the sins in our lives so we can get forgiveness from them, and so we can get rid of the sin in our life. But also the matzah reminds us of Yeshua HaMashiach, because in Isaiah chapter 53, it talks about the Messiah, the suffering servant, and how he was bruised for our transgressions. Now, the bruises in this matzah, we see, there's scorched marks from the baking, from the machinery, and so, this represents the bruising that Yeshua HaMashiach went through. He was bruised for our transgressions, pierced for our iniquities. And the machine rolls it in such a way that there's perforations. I know you can't see it now, but there's perforations in the matzah. So he was pierced for us. And Yeshua was sinless. Yeshua didn't have a speck of sin. He kept the Torah perfectly, and therefore this matzah represents Yeshua HaMashiach as well. So these are the aspects of unleavened bread. And hope you enjoyed this Ray Bash's ramblings about matzah. Hope you learned something. And not only that, before we go, I also wanted to remind you about how that we go a week without eating any cakes, cookies, or anything that has leaven in it. And that's very hard for me, because I'm the type of guy who likes Little Debbie snack cakes, and I like sweet stuff, and many of the sweet stuff are carbs, has lots of yeast in it, it's very fluffy and light and everything. So we have to be creative when we eat the matzah. You know, I spread peanut butter and honey on it, or chocolate, or I actually make kind of a French toast like a brie with the matzah. We've got 101 ways to prepare matzah during the week of unleavened bread. But we do without some of the things that we normally eat throughout the year. And the spiritual counterfeit of this is Lent. Because Lent, if you actually do your research and study what Lent is in the Catho-Christian tradition, it goes all the way back to Babylon and back to, for the women, weeping for Tammuz, and how, you know, that was all about with the 40 days of Lent. And so usually during Lent you do without sweets, you do without maybe sex, or you do without something of your choosing for that period of time. Well, that's sort of like a spiritual counterfeit for the week of unleavened bread, when we do without leaven. So I thought that might be a point of interest to you as well. So hope you enjoyed this Ray Bash's Ramblings. Hope you enjoy your Passover season and your week of unleavened bread. And may you draw closer to Hashem, His Torah, and His Messiah. Shalom and Shavua Tov Mishpocha.